Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Super Weekend Mode. I do not understand this title. It seems completely and utterly irrelevant to anything that actually happens in the game. And I'm not even entirely sure if the game has a story. It's bizarre, but well, frankly it's a Ratalaika port. That's kind of what you're supposed to expect. Yes, this is a Ratalaika port, and just to prove it, Platinum Trophy in the space of about 45 minutes. So, yeah. It's one of those ones, but, well, at least the concept is at least slightly more interesting than a crappy mobile platformer port. So let's go take a look around. We have leaderboards. I don't even know if it's been submitting my scores to them. I just know that it's there. I am apparently slot 8. I'll take that, that's not actually too bad. Although I'm pretty sure I've gotten a score of over 100,000 somewhere. Game difficulty 2. Game difficulty 3. Okay, whatever. Could have sworn I did, but oh well. If we head to the config... Yes, the game's loading times are actually atrocious. When you first boot up the game, it takes ages to get to the main menu. It's kind of bizarre, actually. You have a left paddle, a right paddle, and a shoot button. Kind of sucks in all honesty. We'll get to that, but thankfully you can remap them if you feel the need. You also have audio, which is okay. Why not? So, if we head into game start, the tutorial is literally just a bunch of screens that tells you how to play the game. Hopefully I can do that. So, you've got multiple characters to choose, or outfits I should say, and they all have different things. Different little advantages and disadvantages, which is nice. I don't think any of them gives you a particular bonus, in the sense that it'll make your scores better or anything like that, but yeah, 1 credit clear, have fun with that. You also have your game difficulty. There are 3 difficulties, and the higher difficulties basically just make the patterns harder, and the bosses have more health. We're going to start with difficulty 2 and see how well I do. And you can also turn auto-fire on or off. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's actually something that really gives you a disadvantage if you use auto-fire, which is there are some things that will immediately cost you your chain if you shoot them. But for the purpose of demonstration, we're going to leave it on because there's a reason why I want to leave it on. You actually fire faster than you can if you are manually firing, which actually is a big benefit in this game, and it's honestly quite annoying that that's a thing, because again, there are things that will cause you some problems if you have auto-fire turned on, but nevertheless, let's give this a shot, shall we? Wow, I didn't even realize, like, it's almost invisible when you're playing the game, but on the Vita screen, I should say. But every time you shoot the dude, there's a little screen shake effect. It is way more obvious playing the game on a bigger screen now. But yeah, nevertheless, this is Super Weekend Mode. Here's the idea. Those 2 paddles can be in any one of 2 positions, left or right. And you can change their position by pressing their relevant shoulder button. Of course, blue is on the left, and red is on the right. You have to collect the hearts. If you lose a heart, you will not only lose your chain, which gives you more points, depending on how high the chain is, of course, but you will also cause the screen to get smaller. Should I demonstrate? I should probably demonstrate. Here, I'll demonstrate. So here, now you've got less room to work with, which means the hearts actually come at you faster, which makes the game harder, which is kind of a bitch. Think about it, the more you fuck up, the harder the game gets. It's like as soon as you get one fail, you'll just start chaining up multiple fails together and the game will just get harder. The game will give you a little bit of breathing room depending on how well you do, but yeah, it can kind of suck. So the idea is you got to collect as many of these hearts as possible while also firing up into the boss. Every time you collect a heart and shoot the boss, you will take a little bit out of the health of the boss. And the idea is just to defeat as many of the bosses as possible. I have gotten up to stage 6 on difficulty 1. That's about as far as I've gotten. Between every stage, depending on how your chain's doing, you'll get pickups. Like, for example, I just got the barrier pickup, and you can see the barriers around my paddles right now. And they will protect me from one hit from skulls, and I don't know exactly what they're called. I'm going to call them frogs. They are quite different. There's the skulls, for example. If you hit a skull, it will kill you, unless you've got a barrier, in which case it will just reset, and there's the frog. Again, if you hit it, it will kill you. The idea with the frogs is that you just have to bat them away, but they can also count as misses, which is really frustrating because the timing on the frog enemies is actually really fucking hard to get, and I don't know why. It's just, especially when you've got ones like that where you have to worry about moving hearts going for another paddle, it can be really hard to get them. Yes. I died, so I have to press any button to continue. You have limited lives, of course, and when you run out, the game is over. This is pretty much the entire game. You have to try and keep these away for as long as possible. The later bosses don't really change it up. There's no new mechanics. There's just more intense patterns to deal with. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it. It does say level up there. Yeah, I fucked that up. We're going to drop back to difficulty 1. Actually, no, I'll play difficulty 3 just to show you how much harder it is, and then we'll drop back to difficulty 1. And we'll swap to another character. Only attain speed ups, fuck that. Start stage with a barrier. That's actually not too bad, honestly. We'll give that a shot. Why not? No one is particularly harder or easier, they're just more suited towards certain playstyles, although there is one that is more beginner-friendly in the grand scheme of things. So as you can see, 700 shots! It's gonna take a hell of a lot to take this guy out. You do get a few different kinds of power-ups, but they don't really change the mechanics in any way. And I don't know what the deal is with that leveling up. I'm not sure why. Is that just like them saying, oh hey, you got 100 chain? Because leveling up doesn't seem to actually do anything. And it also blocks the screen off. So if you're trying to pay very close attention to a difficult pattern and you level up, you're not going to be able to fucking see it. This has caused me to drop chains more than once. So yeah, it's actually really fucking annoying, if I'm being honest with you. The performance isn't great either, especially when you get into the later stages and they're absolutely determined to fill the screen with dudes. Like, every single slot you can see will be taken up by either a skull or a heart, and the game will start to drop frames, the music will slow down, and you can tell that the game's having a tough time trying to keep up. For something this simple, I don't think that's acceptable. But this is Radalaika we're talking about. Their tendencies to port games and then introduce performance issues that weren't there in the original versions is well known amongst Vita gamers at this point. And yeah, there's not much new. Like, once you've played one boss, you've played them all, they just have different patterns, more or less. Actually, no, that's a lie. Once you've played the first 2 stages, and therefore you've seen the skulls and the frogs, you've seen everything. There are different kinds of hearts that come along, but it's just the same sort of thing. They have like a random chance of swapping things. If you shoot them, you may well end up dealing with one that will just instantly reset your chain, which again makes auto shooting a bit of a pain in the ass, because despite the fact that it's faster than you being able to, you can't hold it down. You can't hold the shoot button down, you have to press it every time, and pressing it every time is still slower, because they've got a delay in there that makes it slower than using auto fire, because fuck. Hard mode isn't that much harder, it's just longer. And that kind of makes it a bit more difficult to deal with. And yeah, it's frustrating. You do have to pay really close attention. You have to be really good with your timing. You need to have really good reflexes. Like, it's not a game for people who can barely move their fingers across the shoulder buttons. The game is super... well, it is super hard. I'll give it that. It is really, really difficult on anything higher than the highest difficulty, and even then on the... anything other than the lowest difficulty, I should say. And even on the lowest difficulty, it can wreck your shit if you aren't careful. It is definitely one of the more difficult games I've played, but the thing about it is that it has no mechanical variety. I mean, there are different hearts that come in, and there are different patterns, but this is it. Like, it's just a harder version of this from here on in. And there's just nothing else to really say about it in the way of gameplay, so it just gets boring. That's pretty much its big issue. It doesn't have that much going for it, so it just doesn't last very long. Thankfully, they've priced it appropriately. It's less than $5. I think it's like $3.99 right now on discount. So yeah, it really isn't that great. Won't last you very long at all. At the same time, fuck, though, at least it's priced appropriately. This is the sort of game you would expect to pay a couple of dollars for the most part. At least when better shit isn't on sale. Wow, I actually made it to stage 3 on a higher difficulty. What the hell? This boss reminds me of Castlevania for some reason. I think it's the music. And the music is just... well, it doesn't sound bad, but it's still that generic 8-bit sort of tone that every independent game ever in the last, like, 5 to 10 years has been using, and it's just something that I find difficult to appreciate, all things considered. Here's the purple hearts. There are also green hearts that also move across the field in really bizarre ways. But that's pretty much it. You've seen everything there is to see. And again, you can get the platinum in like 45 minutes. Basically, you just need to put the game on difficulty 1, play through on difficulty 1 until you die. If you don't make it to stage 3, keep playing. And then once you have every trophy except 1, play the game on the hardest difficulty and you're done. That's the platinum trophy in a nutshell. I got the platinum trophy just because I was like, fuck it, I need to see what the highest difficulty is like anyway. And the highest difficulty is just like regular old difficulty, but the patterns are a little harder and the boss has way more health. We'll go play on easy because I said I would, but really shouldn't have said that. I could have ended the video at this point, but... well, this is me we're talking about. I always make these kinds of mistakes. Graphically, it's not that impressive either. It just... I mean, it's... some of the backgrounds are kind of cute, but other than that, it's just nothing to write home about, and I'll probably forget what this game looks like in a little bit. As you can see, the guy's got way less health, so... getting through to the next stages will be easy peasy Japanesey. And other than rhyme, that phrase makes no sense because Japanese is actually a really hard language to learn, as I have been finding out recently. Yeah, they do make it relatively easy on difficulty 1. At least there's a nice sort of balance. You do get the whole trying to keep you guys in the middle while still trying to get all of the different hearts. At least that's a neat idea, and they do make a lot of use out of it, but as I've said before, the bad performance, annoying tendency to blind you with a level up dialogue, And the fact that the game gets harder every time you make a mistake because everything moves closer is a bit shit, I must say. Would I recommend it? Not really. There are better games to play. Shit. That one was my fault. At least it's a good reflex test, but still, I think there are more in-depth and worthwhile reflex tests than this. Those ones annoy the shit out of me. Like, you know where the blue heart is going to go, but you still have very little time to see it, perceive it, and react to it. That's the main issue. It's alright, we're done here. All I get was an extra life because my chain was really low at the very end. At least that gives you an incentive to try and not lose your chain, but at the same time, if you do the entire level and then lose the chain at the very, very end, there goes all the pickups you were earning your way towards at the beginning of the level. I can't see myself playing this for much longer because it's just really frustrating. Especially when you have to deal with two of those dudes at once and the timing is just a little bit off on one shoulder. Just enough to screw you over. Yeah, that was just me flailing around like an idiot there. I'm not entirely sure what I was doing. I don't know what those pictures in the background are about. A little bit bizarre. Yes, here comes the booby mermaid. It actually looks kind of like the main character in a way. It's a little weird. I've got nothing else left to say. I'm basically, as soon as I ran out of lives, I'm basically done here. The game will leave my memory card, and it will never come back on. Yeah, so you can tell that the game is just losing performance here. Even the inputs start to lag a little bit, which is honestly quite unacceptable. In a game that's about precise timing, that is unacceptable. If you want a good reflex test, Super Hexagon. You know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm just gonna let the next ones kill me, and that's it. I have gone to stage 6, and it doesn't change. The backgrounds look different, the bosses look different, and the patterns are different, but it's the same gameplay. No extra mechanics or anything like that at all. It's just that. And that gets boring after a significant amount of time. It's been an hour, and I never want to play it again. So, there you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.